I want to write about the things that interests me. I don't think about the audience. I don't think about readers because I don't think this is possible to like kind of predict this.
Tomorrow.
My name is Danuta Hinc. I am a writer and a teacher of writing at University of Maryland at College Park.
I guess today we're going to talk a little bit about your creative process. Like how do you start? What do you do next? And then how do you know when you're done?
The last part is probably the most difficult part. So the process is different for different kind of novels. I wish the process, as I mentioned before, Jack, I wish the process was clearer and more organized and kind of neat, but it's not. In your head, in your mind, they make sense. You know what is happening, but when someone looks at your notes, they don't really know what you are trying to do. The beginning is usually something sparks my interest. The novel that I just finished explores how a person can be radicalized. And that took just simply years of research, especially because I am not from the Middle East, but most of the novel happens in the Middle East. The novel that I finished right now, and I am revising it, it is loosely based on my own life and will talk about immigration. So the research is a little bit different because kind of I'm drawing from things that I already know, that I've lived through. So depending on how, what the subject is, the subject will dictate how the research will unfold. After the research and during the research, you simply sit down and write. Close your door and have a good chunk of time, usually more than 2 hours, to sit down and simply be alone. At this point, usually there are some scenes, in my case, that are already in my head. Sort of, I know what is kind of in the beginning. I mostly know how it will end, and I know where the middle sort of, once you have kind of like the skeleton, like you have the first draft, then you are still doing research and you are still going back and revising it. And then when you have kind of like the first good draft, in my case, I put it aside. Like the last novel I put aside for a year. After a year, I came to realization that I would like to change some things and introduce a little bit different structure.
When you talked about writing, the writing process, you mentioned like the hardest part was figuring out when to stop or figuring out when it's done. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
That is a very, interesting question because I almost think that it never stops. I am not sure. I might change my mind in 10 years, but right now I feel like it never stops. Meaning, and the best example is my first novel, To Kill the Other, was published in 2011. And When We Were Twins is actually a revision of the first novel. So imagine how far I am done with revising the novel. I am moving on to a different topic, completely different topic. But I do feel like the characters still live in me, and they are part of my psyche, and they probably will never leave. Part of me would like to disconnect from all the characters in the book, but part of me loves them and wants to kind of keep them close to my heart. At this point of my life, I really want to focus on the things that and people that I love. Like I want to remember. I feel like I want to explore this more. My parents who are not with us anymore, of course, my grandparents, my teachers. I feel like I would like to kind of hold on to them against the passing of time.
What would that give you?
What this would give me, probably what many people would like to have, is the illusion that the time is not passing. that we are not dying, that you can keep something, that you can make something immortal. I think
Mm.
that is the childish desire of us all.